Has Mother Nature spanked your garden? I don't know about you, but this past summer had me just about throwing in the towel. Between the blazing Texas sun that fried everything it touched to what I can only describe as a pure pest invasion, it left my garden depleted, crispy, and infested. Here are 4 steps I'm taking to revitalize my garden and try to prevent pests in the future. Step 1, assess the damage and clean up. So when I tell you I had pests, baby, I had pests. Cucumber beetles, grubs, cutworms, leaf-footed bugs, vine borers, tomato hornworms, aphids, leaf miners, mealybugs, you name it, I had it. I have never experienced pest pressure like this, and it's abundantly clear that if I don't course correct, this is going to be detrimental to future harvests. Let's be honest, I'm really not trying to create a safe haven for these destructive little terrorists. Also, because I eventually just threw my hands up, I kind of abandoned my garden for a few weeks, and the sun really gave it a beating, leaving everything crispy and the soil slightly compacted. So yeah, the first step was for me to tear out all of this crispy, diseased, pest-infected plants and to make sure I disposed of them. I did not add them back to my compost because I don't want to reintroduce this disease or pest larva to my soil in the future. Now that I'm starting fresh and everything has been cleaned out, the second step is to amend and add nutrients back into the soil. Starting with a blood meal, which is high in quick release nitrogen, making it immediately bioavailable. Then I'm going to use a quality bone meal, which is rich in slow release calcium and phosphorus. This is crucial for root development and the flowering of plants. Amending and building your soil is always the foundation to any healthy garden. The more resilient your soil is, the more resistant your plants will be to disease. Next, I'm going to come in with my composts, which will improve soil structure and microbial health. In the past, I've always just used mushroom compost, but this past gardening season, I've begun to use composted cow manure as well, because the more diversity you have in your soil, the better. It's going to make it more resilient, able to fight disease and pests at the soil level. So I've already came in and added my mushroom compost to this bed, and now I'm going to go ahead and add the cow manure. Composted cow manure is nutrient rich. It has a balanced nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, which your plants will love. It improves the soil structure and it diversifies the microbial health of the soil. Likewise, mushroom compost is also a great soil conditioner. It's pH neutral, which helps to neutralize acidic soil. And again, it's adding microbial activity for healthier soil. I'm going to show you guys something. That's black cow composted cow manure. It is really vibrant and moist and lush, and you can tell it's very fertile. So my local box store didn't have very many of them, so I ended up purchasing some of this one as well by, I won't say the name, but I'll just let you look at it. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you I'm already disappointed, because let me show you what that one looks like and how it is in comparison. All I'm going to say is there's a reason why so many people like black cow. This is the black cow. Yep. So if you were thinking about trying other ones, I would just say stick with black cow. It's really great. Next, I'm going to treat my garden with humic acid, which is not a fertilizer, but more of a soil conditioner. Similar to fertilizer, it is made by the biodegradation of organic matter. And this particular brand calls for 1 ounce to a gallon. So about an ounce. I just eyeball it. Activated humic acid has a really unique ability to bind to nutrients in the soil, making them more accessible for plant absorption. This improves the efficiency of fertilizers and reduces nutrient loss. It also can improve soil structure, which is the reason why I'm using it. After I abandoned my garden and kind of stopped watering, the soil is a little worse for wear. So it can significantly enhance your soil structure by increasing the aeration, water retention, and the root penetration. The third step is to plant cover crops. There is no way I can leave these beds barren over the fall and winter. Cover crops are great because they are nitrogen fixers, they add organic matter back into the soil, and they will improve the soil structure. I'm actually going to spread crimson clover throughout this bed. Not only is it a cover crop, it's also medicinal. So I'm really excited to let this one actually grow to full bloom and then use it for medicine. Cover crops like clover, vetch, rye can protect bare soil, suppress weeds, and enhance soil fertility. They contribute to the soil's health by fixing nitrogen, adding organic matter, and improving the soil structure. Some cover crops can even help with pest control by serving as a trap crop and by attracting beneficial insects. Come late winter, early spring, I will terminate these cover crops, flatten them, and top them off with some more compost before I begin to plant into these beds. I got my cover crop seed from True Leaf Market. I'll have it linked in the description along with everything else. Fourth and possibly most critical step I'm taking is introducing beneficial nematodes into my garden. This is a great natural way to fight soil-dwelling pests without harming the plants or the beneficial insects. So it'll come in a packet that looks like this. It looks like dust, but they're actually alive nematodes that I'm going to distribute through water. Okay, so when you receive your beneficial nematodes, they're going to come with some kind of cool pack. You're going to have to put them in the refrigerator immediately because they are living organisms. To me, they are the star of the show. If they can reduce my pest pressure by even 50%, I will be elated. They do target specific pests like grubs and beetles and some larvae, but they don't harm the beneficial ones. I'm optimistic. I really hope this works. Ready for fall and winter. Lastly, I want to make sure I have a solid plan going into this next growing season. Everyone knows you should do crop rotation to prevent an infestation like this, but that can be very difficult to do when you have a small garden like mine. So rather than continuing down this path that is clearly destructive, I'm going to plant my vegetables and fruit in containers and grow bags this year and move them to another side of my garden. And I will give my beds a rest by planting medicinal herbs and flowers, and hopefully within another growing cycle, they'll be ready to go again. If you found this information helpful or you have some advice, please let me know in the comments. And as always, please like and subscribe so we can grow, harvest, and heal together.